It was seen to be the biggest health threat we'd faced since the so-called Spanish flu of 1919. Yes, as COVID-19 hove into view, as we saw the distressing scenes from Milano in northern Italy, the government decided, along with many other governments, that we had to lock down the country and effectively lock down the economy. I can't say that I blame them for doing it once, but I really do blame them for doing it over and over. I really do blame them for creating a culture of fear, using advertising campaigns, making sure any debate that questioned the actions was effectively suppressed, where newspapers would expose people as COVID-idiots if they dared challenge the established line. And we learned, and I mean, goodness me, we had Professor Carol Sikora on the show this week, one of the men that warned, actually, the health impacts of lockdown would be greater than if COVID was allowed to let rip. And we know long-term it has been an economic disaster for the country. It has been a physical health disaster for the country. It's been a psychological disaster for the country. Now, I don't entirely blame our government alone for this. After all, many other European governments, many other states in America took the same view. Sweden and Florida perhaps being the exceptions to the rule. But of course the time has come for a full and thorough inquiry into what happened, why it happened, and what we can learn in case there are future pandemics. And I'm talking about this assuming we will not sign up to the WHO's pandemic treaty, which if we do, of course, all bets are off because the British government wouldn't have a say. But isn't it interesting that the Swedes, their inquiry into COVID, done, dusted, over. Ours, we've appointed Baroness Hallett to run it. They've spent tens of millions of pounds already. They haven't as yet interviewed a single minister. But despite those criticisms, is it right that that inquiry should see Boris Johnson's diaries and emails from that period? Well, what did we learn from the leak of all the emails that came from Matt Hancock? We learned there was an attitude towards government, a contempt for ordinary people, a desire to make sure there were political outcomes, even if there were no health benefits to them. I thought some of the sheer cynicism that Hancock displayed was disgusting. So I've believed in this situation, even if there is private and personal material, even if there is material here that would be of a national security interest, I believe it's right that this is all handed over. Now, the pressure on Boris Johnson has been enormous. The deadline for all of this is 4 o'clock tomorrow. Boris Johnson has now given the Cabinet Office access to all of his WhatsApp messages and all of his diaries. So now the ball is very firmly in the court of Rishi Sunak, and he appears to be very reluctant to hand this data over. I ask you, do you think there is a cover-up going on here? Let me know what you think. Farage@gbnews.com.